Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you to Franchise CXO Dialogue. This series involves learning from thought leaders at leading franchise organizations. Hope you all are keeping safe and healthy. My name is Ashita Marya, and I'm the CEO for Franchise India. I'm very excited today to welcome my friend Amit Chaudhary, though he's too young for me, but still he's a good friend, who's the COO Lenskart Solutions Private Limited. He's an alumni of Birla Institute of Technology. With over a decade of experience at Lenskart, he's known for deriving innovative ideas and has a deep understanding and interest in technology, analytics, operations, along with an expertise in organizational development, which has brought in a revolutionary growth in the business. In fact, he's also responsible for the aggressive offline expansion of Lenskart. Lenskart don't need no introduction, but I'll still state some facts about it. Lenskart is one of the unicorns in India and has about 600 stores in 160 cities and 33 states and UTs. It does door-to-door deliveries at 22,000 pin codes across India with a world-class existing manufacturing unit in India, which is in Gurgaon. It serves all stores with about 18,000 plus daily orders, 6 million plus customers served till date, and a strength of about 3,500 direct people working for Lenskart. We also have with us Mr. Gaurav Maurya, who's the chairman of Franchise India, and he's being one of those who have been highly regarded for his contribution in popularizing franchising in India. Amit, Lenskart by far, is one of the greatest franchise business successes in recent times with online, offline, doorstep reach, being one of the, founding members of the team. If you can just take us through some highlights, of last 10 years of your journey.
Yeah. Thanks, Ashita, for getting me on board of this. And I think I saw some of the earlier videos of where you all have been interacting. It is really informative. So Lenskart, started exactly 10 years back, where we wanted to build a category which not everybody would touch, and where we can do a lot of integration backwards. So over the last 10 years, what we have achieved is a full stack business. And when I say full stack business, we do manufacturing, we do like the complete bit of manufacturing, we do it ourselves in-house. We own the entire technology piece, we own the supply chain, we own the retail, whether it is online, offline, in-home. So our entire stack is completely managed by us. And that is something probably what we have achieved better than focusing on one category, than focusing on many categories. And on a prima facie, in the last 10 years, of course, it happened in phases. When we started, we just were buying stuff from market, where we're doing some bit of integration inside the spectacles, and we were giving it to consumers. But all of these, what we are saying, was a backward integration from what customer wanted. When a customer wanted a product like this, so they did not care about, that who should they get the warranty for the frame, for the lens, for the retailer who was selling him, that is the guy who should serve him. And we were seeing that, when a retailer was giving a service to the consumer, then after that, there was no after sale service, right? When you were going back to the retailer, you would say that, okay, your frame is defective, we need to talk to the frame manufacturer, or the lens has some problem, you need to talk to the lens manufacturer, or the entire supply. The consistency in delivering the right product was not there. So what we made sure that, if we really want to make sure our NPS is high, our consumers are enthusiastically satisfied, we need to connect the dot backwards and make sure each and every bit of the functions, we manage it ourselves. We own the entire stack and we deliver it to our customers. That is how our business is. We started online. Then we went to people's home to get the eye power, when we realized that, people in India, there are 60 crore people who need eyeglasses to just see. बहुत लोग बाकी, like there are a lot of other people who are tiny power, minor power, who can't see without it. But 60 crore people can't see without eyeglasses. And there are only 35 crore who wear it. The other 25 crore people don't even wear it, mainly in the rural where the access is not there. to serve 1.3 billion people, there are only 30,000 optical stores. So there is a tremendous requirement. Like even if there are 10 Lenskart in a similar size today, that is still lesser for the number of people we want to serve. Like in a population which is so lesser in US, there are more optical stores, just to give a apple to apple comparison. And this is a three, this is some product where, assembly of 3 items, which enables people to see better, right? Increases their efficiency. When we go out to villages and we donate eyeglasses there, we realize the efficiency of the village increases, right? When you are giving glasses to people who can't see, right? There are daily wage workers, somebody who's a tailor, somebody who's a cobbler, right? When they get, their efficiency increases. And we don't realize that a simple product like this is a bigger pandemic probably, where people are not able to see in a daily core. A lot of housewives, like in India, it was earlier a taboo of not wearing a glass. So this is what our 10 years journey has taught us, Ashita, Gaurav, that we have been focusing on a category. We want to make it big. We want to serve the country, get to every countryman who needs glasses, give them better service, give them an assurance that we are your loyal optical partners.
Absolutely, and I should rather comment this. Very few startups would be like yours, because which have really not only understand the demand supply gap, but also I think being a very integrated operators. Because I think a lot of times we do the consumer side, but we don't do the dirty job in terms of going backwardly creating that. And now all that what you thought would come into a big opportunity for you, because a large part of the optical world was dependent on one country. And you being an integrated operator, having your own manufacturing capability, build your integrated structure, would all come in so much of advantage and going forward. And I think that's what I was rather mentioning to one of the other optical operators in the country, and says, for so long, for this country has been never realized that we also have the great manufacturing capability. We also can produce a great product. Why would we always dependent on one single country for the entire optical market?
Correct.
And another thing which we all really talk about, and it's starting from Reliance, who's the largest group in the country, which thought about retail, and everybody thought about this whole picture of saying, how do we service this demand which is there out there? But nobody is able to crack the formula. And I should give you the credit that you went out and revolutionized this whole chashma market. Because the fact was that customer was asking a price and people were giving a different kind of I think there was a huge mid gap which was created, and that's something which you clearly saw and addressed, and also gate experience. So I think the combination you cracked was, best of the class experience, best of the pricing structure, and convenience. Convenience means the spread of distribution. So all these 3 things came together as an opportunity. And also a lot of I think retail companies should understand. So if you really want to really see a big success in your retail operations, unless you crack this formula of these 3 things together, you will never be able to do so to say reach India kind of a opportunity.
Absolutely, you're bang on. And Gaurav, when we look back and we see that, like for the first 3-4 years of our existence, when we were also raising funds, and there was a huge ecosystem who was spending a lot of money on Facebook, Google, and all the other marketing platforms to gain consumers. What we realized that we need to strengthen our backbone, and that will only happen if we invest in the best of the tools and machineries to make sure that our consumers get the right product. And now when we look back, all those investment, like we raised investment and we put it there instead of just putting it full blown into just acquiring consumers. And that is paying off today, because our business is the only business which will give you a product which will be on your face all the time. That's your identity, right? Because even if I'm wearing this t-shirt, you won't know the company all the time. But this spectacle is something which is on your face all the time. This is like the biggest word of mouth, right? On your mouth. So we realize that when we are doing that right, and the way we want to scale up business, the right way is to give it to consumers the right product which they can tell everybody. That's the real NPS, right? The whole idea of NPS is that are you my promoter? And if you're able to make promoter out of the service you're giving, you'll be always able to get more consumers without spending money in like spending money in marketing only.
I'm one of your top promoters. I'm wearing your sunglasses here, this eyewear. I actually bought it when this lockdown was going on, and a
Wow.
shop next to our home actually is opened up, and this was running actually even in the lockdown. So I
Yes.
picked up two pairs from there. So, and every webinar I'm going, and always when I talk about franchising, I talk about this and say this is how the company really operates. So I'm one of your big promoters.
Thanks, Gaurav.
Okay, that's interesting. That's a lovely journey. And so, having said that, now, taking the conversation forward from there, Lenskart is, um, you know, uh, otherwise also, I believe that, when you get the culture right, most of the other stuff like you just said, consumer service or building a great, so-called long-term brand or empowering employees and customers will happen on its own, because company culture is like a concept that, makes it easier to experience and to describe. So
Correct.
what is it that you do that it, kind of inculcates down the line, since you have partners also, they've got offline stores as well. So how do you manage to do that? What is that thing that you focus on?
I think it has matured over the time, Ashita. Earlier, it was probably we knew it, but we were not putting it in on the board, saying that this is something we will fall back to. Like for an example, customer obsession. Why the word obsession is there is because people will say satisfaction or whatever, but we say obsession as a value of ours, and it is like everybody in the organization will speak the same language, because we know that if you're not obsessed about solving that problem, will not reach there, right? And that is a value which we as founders possess, and we want everybody to believe in that. And of course it will need a lot of preaching and a lot of unlearning for a lot of people, and learn the new way to do it. But now when we go to the end node, which is probably the stores or the people at the call center who are interacting with the consumers, it is a contiguous process, but we realize that we are improving there, as a part of the culture. The other culture thing, or a value, what we say is fail harder, right? We are a young company. We have in the 10-year journey, we have failed so many times. When we started, we had many cards. It was not only Lenskart, it was watch card, bags card, jewels card, right? So we have also failed, and we learned out of those failures. So that is something that should not be a privilege only to the top management, right? Everybody should fail harder and learn out of it. And that is something we really push our peoples to do, right? That if you are trying something, you're failing, that's okay at our company. That's okay in our culture, right? The other value is like collaborative ownership. This is a project or a thing we want to implement, and there are multiple departments involved. There has to be a collaborative ownership, and it is a value which we say that it is important for passing on this culture to our end node, and everybody should follow that. So we have developed all these values. We keep on preaching this to everybody who is associated with Lenskart, to even our vendors, to even our partners, right? That this is something we believe. Like for an example, if we have some raw material vendor where we know that this will impact my end consumer, and if he is not obsessed about the end consumer, he will not make sure that the entire supply chain will work right. So we'll only pass on that message. Even our communication will be only around that, that you have to give me this because my customer will get impacted. So he will understand कि ये company works for the consumer. So we will focus that at least इसको पहले मैं दे दूं, बाकी का संभाल लूंगा किसी और. So it is a nature, right, which we keep on passing. The communication has been always this. So people get amalgamated to that, and because we firmly believe in it, it's not something that we are taking a book and taking out leaves from it and writing it down. It's something we believe in it, and we are just trying to pass it on.
Sure.
And this also has evolved over the time. I remember seeing your advertisements when I used to take up a flight in the morning in Indigo. There used to be small advertisement, and I used to tell myself that would this be a purely online player? And now if I see that, looking at your offline capability and ramp up, and this is one question I want to really ask you, because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't understand that it's just not about setting a vision, but
Yeah.
I think deeper execution really is the mantra with you. And I think and that surprises me, because we've been in retail for good 20 plus years, and I've seen the entire journey of a modern retail. I've seen success stories of almost everybody, from the Bianis, the Ambanis, to everybody else. But to really get on to execute uh, and go out and deliver consistent performance offline, particularly setting up stores, finding right locations, getting right merchandise mix, writing get talent, entire thing, and such a short period, with not so much of a conventional retail team members, which I didn't see in your teams. And
Yeah.
I've seen people cracking down. Even if they do 100 stores, 150 stores, they are not able to manage and not able to do it. What is the mantra of that journey and that speed of execution?
I think, Gaurav, the first point which I mentioned, again, it will come to customer obsession. Sorry, I will link everything to our values. But we realized, when we started for the first 3-4 years, we were pushing online. We were also very young that time, and we were learning the basics of business. But what we realized, that if customer is important, the access to him is also very important, right? And while we were catering to a set of consumers, we were the early adopter probably, who wanted to be there, were coming in. But what we realized, that access is super critical, and especially in our category, because consumers need to know their eye power. You need to give them that access. So this is where we started realizing that what could we do beyond online. So our first thing was that, can we go to consumer homes and do the eye checkup? Can that become a Uber like model, where we have everybody in the country, the staffs in the country going on bikes and going to consumer homes and doing the eye checkup. But again, that had limitations, because one person can do 4 to 5 eye checkups, 6 eye checkups a day, not more than that. And how can you still establish and reach more people? So I think it was a small experiment in a kiosk we did in a mall, and we realized that people were queuing up outside our small 60 square feet store. And that is first time we started realizing that we of course have, say, X number of sales, but there is a lot of interest already we have created, which we are not able to serve. So for an example, if 100 people were coming online to check Lenskart, only 3 or 4 were buying it. The rest 96 were not buying it. And when we started to understand why this 96 is not buying, the problem which came out, that people don't know their eye power. They want to try the spectacle because it is their identity, right? When I'm wearing this, is my identity. This is how I look, right? So nobody wants to compromise on that. When we started seeing all of these parameters and our obsession toward customers, we felt that giving access is a key. We can't wait, but we have to give them access. So we started with opening stores with franchisee, with company stores, irrespective of whether it is a franchisee or a company store. We own the end consumers, and we make sure that this integration which is happening backward needs to ensure that the customer is taken care of. So this is how we started. We started with opening franchisee stores and company stores. We wanted to only do company stores where we felt that we can manage the store, because offline retail, as you mentioned, a lot of people crack up after a time. We didn't want it to get into that trap. So we were only wanting to do what we were able to do, right? Where we felt confident about delivering it. The rest, we, of course, 200, 250 almost entrepreneurs on board as partners, who we wanted to leverage to make sure, because they know that area, they have their own way of working. We have learned a lot from our partners, like the entire way of, like today, one of the incentive models we have done was one of the franchisees in Pune who was doing it in his store, and we learned it and we deployed it across the country, and everybody benefited out of it, right? Or some SOPs at the store which some other partner was doing. So it's a combined knowledge of all the partners coming in together. And then, of course, with all the wisdom of how we were doing this category, how we learned this category, we'll pass it on, right? So we are always regarded as one of the very strict franchisers in the industry. And when we say strict, all our decisions are on the favor of the consumer. And when the decision is on the favor of the consumer, it's a win-win. Those who understand this, it will be a win-win, because the consumer is winning at the end of the day. And that is why, so we have bipolar franchisee set, Gaurav. We have either 90% super happy franchisees, like they will be always happy with us because they understand the end consumer is walking with a smile when they are getting the product. And the 10% who will never be understanding, because they are just worried about the money and not the consumer satisfaction, right? Because Corona will hit us, something else will, recession will hit us. All of this will happen. If the consumer is happy, we'll never be out of business. So this is something we firmly defined as customer obsession, and that led to our scale. Because when we were clear that how do we want to scale up offline stores, what is the way, then it was not looking back. Then everything came together. We need to find a store, we need to build a store, we need to get the vendor to do the civil work, we need to make sure that all the eyewear assets come there. All of these came together, and now when we open a store, it's almost like that jigsaw puzzle somebody solves in 1 minute, and everything coming together and your store ready. So this is now become a model where it is a cookie cutter where you do it. Of course, a fair bit of learning around during the journey, what good locations we have, what kind of staff we need to hire, what are the questions you need to ask to the staff before hiring, what kind of training you need. So all of this is the journey, and it is continuously evolving. We are continuously learning. We do travel abroad also to learn a lot of practices which are say in Japan or US, because these are the mecca of retail, where you understand a lot of retail. We personally spend a lot of time, pick up things from there, learn from there. We want to give the most world's best eyewear service in the country, and that is what we also learn, and we pass it on to the people below.
Absolutely, and I completely agree with you that good franchisees are also big contributors in the framework of the company. And I'm with you on the principle of what we call the firm and flexible rule. Firm rules are which you never negotiate, which is anything to do with your customer and the brand. Yes. Anything to do with customer and the brand is non-negotiable for
the customer is brand. For us, the customer absolutely is the brand, right? Whatever they are talking about us is our brand. Reality is this, right? Whatever we can project ourselves as whatever, but if consumers is speaking in a third room, like what Jeff Bezos says, what is the consumer speaking in the other room about us is our real brand. And that is, if we just focus on the consumer, everything will be made. बाकी तो चश्मा आंखों पे है, तो word of mouth हो ही रहा है.
True. So how, COVID-19, this whole situation has changed the expectations of consumer, from the brand?
So on few aspects, Ashita, the first aspect is the entire hygiene piece. Thankfully, we were doing this even pre-COVID, so it helped where we were making sure that everything is sanitized daily. So all the frames which consumers wear are sanitized daily. So the basic hygiene principles were existing pre-COVID also. So it was easy for us to get to that mode. We of course invested a lot on the other hygiene parameters, like we have this UV sanitizer at the store, where we take an extra precaution. We make sure that we have a queuing system. So not more than the number of people per store, which is designed for every store specifically in terms of social distancing, that is maintained. We are also doing a lot of AI on CCTV to make sure that these are also adhered, क्योंकि मैं अपने I can tell it to my staff, but if it is not maintained, what will happen? So we are making sure that all of these new age technologies are used, which is not only impacting today but will impact a lot for my future, which we only thought when we had time and we when we had no other option to do this, right? It's almost like an exam where you have to study before the exam. So this was where we always thought we will do this, okay, but now it was strict for us and we did this. So we are happy to say that we'll probably be one of the most hygienic players in terms of retail in India today. Though everybody will have their own pros and cons, but we, at least from our category perspective, we have made sure that should be the best. The other factor is the necessity of the product, right? It's difficult for everybody to imagine this is essential, but ask those people who can't see without this, right? And like I have personally got lot of calls during lockdown that, are you open, because I'm not able to see from morning, my spectacles is broken, right? And a lot of, not even my general friends and families, but even celebrities, where they have called me up and said that they can't see. Can you help me out? And thankfully, we made sure that our factory keeps on running, because this is a medical essential product. So these are the calls we also took. We had almost 400 people at our plant who were coming even during COVID times, and we made sure that they stay inside the factory. We arranged everything for them so that they don't face problems for COVID. We made sure that it's a full quarantine facility, but still consumers are getting their products. So this was, there was a time of almost 1 month where nobody in India could have given you spectacles apart from us. So of course, this was a challenging time also. Logistics were not working and then evolving to come back. So these are this is something which happened. The other thing which happened was introduction of new products to consumer, right? Like the computer glasses. Everybody's working from home. All the kids are in front of the screen all the time. So computer glasses, which we pioneered in India as a blue cut lenses, suddenly took off, right? And now after 2-3 months of sitting at home, everybody started realizing that the screen in front of us is causing us psychological problems, because it is giving headache. You're not wanting to sit in the computer for long, but you still have to work. So all of those things, we launched a product long back, but this is now our big hit product, where everybody is wanting this blue cut glasses to sit in front of the screen and actually work for 7-8 hours at a stretch without getting fatigue. And yeah, these are the stuff we have done. The team has got together really well. I think the biggest thing is what we realized, that the entire family of Lenskart have started to integrate much better than what it was before. Because in office, probably we were not meeting than how we are meeting today. And we all have extra 2-3 hours, right? So there's a lot of collaboration which has happened. People understand this is a problem and will not let the company go down in this scenario. So there was a, inherent kuch alag se energy hai in everybody to make sure that we grow. The other thing which came, while we were fighting this situation, we realized that we have all the opportunity to bring in the domination angle. And when I say domination angle, as you were mentioning, Gaurav, why should one country supply 80-90% of the overall eyeglasses in the world? And when we have Make in India as a prime objective, as a country's objective to build manufacturing here, we would want to take this category to the world, and we want to invest there. We want to put our energies there and make sure that can we become that gateway to the world. Apart from that, technology, we are a tech company. We want to focus on technology. Technology team turned around a lot of things overnight. Imagine 400-500 people sitting at call center team who are sitting in office. You have to move them out and make sure they work from home. So how do you make sure everybody working from home is also productive, is aligned? I think lot of technology, internal technology as well as consumer driven technology we innovated during this time. So which is also good for longer term. This entire omni-channel technology which we built during the lockdown, where we are integrating an online customer to offline and an offline customer to online. I think this will not only helping us, but there are a lot of other retailers who call me, and I'm more than happy to share what we are doing. Is gonna help the overall retail as a business, because now consumers just won't be dependent on, that I do this and I will only do this. They need to understand you have to do everything, because the consumer want you to do everything. यही आ रहा दिमाग में. This is what we do.
Absolutely. I think this would be I would say, for companies like yours, which are very nimble, while you're a large company now, and we're very proud that you are one of the few, so to say, multinational from India, and that's something which I would have seen that 10 years back, even the biggest retailer in the country would have never thought that I can be a global play. And that's something which is different, because you come from a very clearly a technology background, which is now doing retail. So fundamentally, you're not limited by boundaries and limitation by your mind and so on and so forth. So but also I feel this would be a huge opportunity for a company like yours to consolidate the market now. I think market would start. A lot of these, marginal players who always existed, which to me are more traders than real authentic operators in the market, because this whole what I call chashma market was a big trade market. You buy something at X and put your margin and sold it at X plus Y. And that's what the business was going on. Now this business would change radically. And I personally feel that India should, and this should be a call with government of India, that one of the big industrial clusters which should come to India should be about opticals. India can become one of the largest play in the global optical world. And I think you should really, lead this and talk to, I think, government of India. They would be more than happy to support your endeavor to create one of the largest manufacturing capabilities in India. But one of the few activities we can really do. Yeah.
No, you're bang on. We are talking to government to create the world's largest eyewear factory in India. We want to do this in another 1.5 years. That is what our plan is. And thankfully, we are living in an age where government is also very supportive, irrespective of whoever the party is. But I'm just saying, overall, every politician today realizes that the growth of the country is more critical, right? So this is what I feel. And to your other point around consolidation, of course, I won't want because anyways the number of optical shops in the country is so less. I don't want any like that to reduce further. And this is a time where we would also want to help anybody in this sector to grow, whether they want to partner with us or become somehow associated with us. We have now a founders table, internal founders table concept where we have a team which is coordinating with a lot of either technology companies or eyewear companies who are talking to us, and we are trying to see if we can help them. So our whole objective today is that what we aspire to do was giving glasses to everybody who needed in India, right? That should not be just limited to what one company envisions, right? And if we are able to do that by supporting everybody and taking that ecosystem ahead, and I'm not saying this, to just sound good. We firmly believe in it, and we feel that that need which is there in India, we need to solve it. In 5 years, we should eradicate this. Like how we eradicate polio, we want to eradicate this. That anybody who needs to have glasses should have it. And of course, we need to grow the business with it. The international angle is absolutely for the business now. When we say this, when we are doing international, we want to use India as a platform or a gateway to the world for this. And we have full capabilities to do it here. There is no reason we should not do it. Like every ingredient is here, whether it is talent, whether it is machineries, everything can be done here. We are just on the verge, and I'm sure with Lenskart, there would be more companies coming in who will do this and will become the gateway to the world.
Absolutely. And when I was talking about consolidation, I was also coming from, I feel that the independent retailers, this is the best time.
Yes.
But they need to raise up and say, alone you will not be able to survive. I think this is a greater opportunity for these small retailers who can now convert maybe with you and handle, because rather than going to the wholesale markets or importers who would buy a product from them and multiple this, why bother? You know, if your efficiencies has been a good retailer, you have a right location at the right spot, just uplift your store, do a little bit of a better experience under the Lenskart and convert into a Lenskart. I think that would be much better.
Start believing in the vision, what I just mentioned. You know, if you're doing that and focusing on the customer, then all of these can be done, right? These are all back-end work. All of this can be done.
Absolutely.
Focus is that can we pass on the same consumer value which we are trying to do at a Lenskart touch point everywhere.
Correct. Absolutely.
Great. So I think that's an opportunity that, people can look at conversion franchising when it comes to Lenskart. So of course, sharing the vision is important, but I think that's also an opportunity for them to do so.
We have also tweaked our franchisee model where we have reduced the investment. We now 100% make sure that the store manager is a company employee. So we have tweaked all of these models also during COVID times, and we are seeing a lot of interest coming in because this is also a perfect opportunity for many landlords, right? If you see the entire retail, so the situation is ki neither there is demand, there is a lot of supply, right? And all the suppliers need to do something, right? So this is a perfect opportunity for all the suppliers to reinvest a little to get more. And if India, you imagine that kitne stores honge na, which are now vacant or not filling up, and which are already filled up, they will have to go to a rent cart because the demand is not there. Business has to survive. But if they wear the entrepreneur's hat and not the landlord's hat, there is so much opportunity, and it's a win-win, right? Because he knows that he will have to get more out of his own property, right? So there is an inherent interest. There is no landlord and a tenant and then a franchisee relationship. I think that is a huge opportunity, where something which is vacant, you are investing a little to make sure you get more out of the same real estate, which is not vacant. And that is something which I personally feel in the next 2 years can change the scope of retail, where it will be a pure partnership instead of just, people doing this for a, like I used to do franchisee development myself, right? I used to talk to franchisee. And the first question used to be that, "Ye hame bank se kitna zyada paise degi?" Right? So if that is the comparison, then it's just an investment. It's not the morale of doing a business. But now you get that opportunity where these landlords can become businessmen and for the good, because they will know the best of how to get the best out of their property. I just feel that this is gonna happen very quickly.
Absolutely, big time. Says that 22% of retail real estate would come back in the market.
Yes.
And this time around, they would not see the conventional tenants coming to them. Most of them, especially the small shop owners, would raise up to occasion to start their own business by choice, because they feel that one, they're more in control. Second, what you said, this is a better income structure. Yeah. And a lifelong opportunity. So I completely with you agree that there would be a lot of good supply of good real estate property owners who would come and take franchise.
Yes.
Yeah.
And अगर उसके पास property है तो इतने पैसे तो होंगे कि वो थोड़ा और लगा दे.
Correct. Absolutely.
For at least a majority. So all the intelligent guys will do it very quickly, I feel, and then the news will spread that he did it and it has happened. So let me also do it.
And also there is a big reason, because whenever this crisis happen, so first hit is passive investment market. So you have no return on putting in FD. You have no return on putting investment in property, not even in, in the financial products. So where would you put your money, right? So the micro businesses would rise, and micro businesses are the best service to this country. When you sell 100 franchisees, these 100 people, franchisees get 3 or 4 people hired. So we get employment created. A lot of, so if you really want to service this country in India, I always say, invest in creating micro entrepreneurship. And that is the best investment any large corporate should also do. Rather than giving charity and giving free food, give people
creating wealth for anybody is by creating something, right? It cannot be putting in a financial institution and doing it. It Correct. Might work for few people, but for the larger the GMV of the country, GDP of the country, it has to create something. China did it by manufacturing, we did it by services, but we have to create something, and that is a perfect opportunity now in retail, where I would say the owners, the owners of the retail land needs to rise up and do it. It will happen. I really feel it will happen, and that is how I visualize retail for the next few years to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how do you, taking this a bit further, how do you manage geographies in it? I mean, do you give them any geographical rights, or how do you manage,
No, we don't give. So we only give the option of second store when the NPS of the first store is good. So we are so customer obsessed that the franchisee has to win the second store. He just can't invest in it. He has to earn the second store. We are absolutely clear about this. So like one of the franchisees who has 7 stores has actually earned it. He's a ISB grad in Hyderabad who left his job and probably is a manager, is a CEO of all his 7-8 stores. And when you meet him, it's almost like he's the CEO of his business, running it really well, but he has earned it because he learned the art in the first store and then he earned it all the other stores. Because for us, investment is secondary. The value, whether he or she will be able to take the consumer value from us is the most critical thing.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So how do you make sure that this experience of a consumer keep rising? Is there anything that you feel? I mean, I understand that somebody has to look at the face as to how the specs is looking on the face, but apart from that, what is the experience? I'm sure consumers are asking more and more every day. So how do you make that up, and what's the latest that you've done in it?
That's the only job we are doing, to be honest. But this is Ashita, very good question, because day and night. Yesterday we were talking to all our area managers, trying to understand what the consumer problems are. This is more like building your body, where you have to do it continuously, and you will never be satisfied, right? I have never heard anybody who is on the peak of his bodybuilding saying that now I have achieved 100%, because there will be always something to achieve. So I would say we are still at a very early stage. There's a lot of work to do when we are thinking international. Whether doing it in international or getting the international quality to India, there is a long way to go right now. And plus, continuous improvement. Not let focus get out of this. Not let any investment, or I get a lot of congratulations when we raise funds. We imagine there is a lot of loan now, right, which we have to deliver it back. But don't let any of this get through your head, and only focus on consumer is what we at the current age we only believe this. Yahi karna hai, this is what we want to do.
And also, one thing which is becoming very unique in the optical space, which I want to really touch upon with you, is that it was a very flat product, very necessity-based product, and it's now marrying with fast fashion. So on one side, people do it because they want to look good and they want to change. There's a lot of styling, like fast fashion, like Zara would do, that you have every day a new design. And second side is very staple and very classic in nature in terms of your utility. How do you marry both? And when you run a retail business, online is still fine. You can change faster. When you run retail, how do you really create and change that experience of fast fashion in these businesses? Because I have particularly been going to your stores and I see your styles change very fast. And how do you bring predictability to your fashion quotient in this business?
So the first point, Gaurav, is we run our stores a little different. All the pieces which you see in the store are just display pieces. We don't give that particular piece to you. So
Correct.
and we keep all the other all the inventory in our back-end warehouse to make sure we process them and you get the fresh piece. But how we do this is of course through a lot of technology. So for us every piece is a unique barcode which is sitting on a particular place, and we keep on measuring what is the customer which is liking there. So I don't know, when you enter a Lenskart store, you will see somebody asking for your phone number, right?
Correct.
And most people would understand that they are asking for the phone number to probably see what is the conversion ratio, right? So for an example, our conversion ratio is 25%, right? So which means if 100% people walked in, 25 bought and 75 did not buy. For us, that 75 and getting the knowledge from that 75 is so critical that for an example, if 80 people are saying that they did not like the frames, which means that we really need to work on the merchandising there. And this is a continuous feedback system. We take it from the consumer. The other thing what we do very interestingly, because we are an omni-channel business, is see our online pattern of that particular geography. So if it is Chennai versus Bombay, we know what are people browsing, what are people buying in a particular geography. And we use those trend marks to implement in our offline stores. So both opening the store and what the merchandising in the store, both are using a macro factor of online, which we have the data of already. There's a lot of users. There are almost like 1 million users coming onto our platform to understand and browse and see what is the fashion. So we know what people are trending to in what geography, and use that same knowledge and pass it to our store.
Very interesting. And this would be a very big highlight, I would say, which independent retailers would never be able to do that, because I feel that this business is becoming more and more complex.
No, independent retailer, the biggest problem with them is the inventory. So for an example, if you have the stock already lying with you, you won't, like, unless you sell this, you'll not buy more. For us, it is just the display inventory. We don't even keep extra stock there.
Correct. And predictability has become a very big business intelligence, and predictability would drive the business now going forward. And I feel that the biggest problem in watch and eyewear business was 15 to 20% of very slow moving stocks. And that becomes piles up inventory. If conventional retailers have big problem of this. And
we have zero stock at the store. We have no. So when you have no inventory, what could be a dead inventory?
Correct. So that's a big advantage, and I think that's where a real value lies in your business model, and that's where I like the innovation, because otherwise it was very, very difficult, and the turnaround times are faster. I can give you example in your store, which I bought in the lockdown. I ordered 2 pairs, and he told me that 7-day delivery, and one I got in the next day morning.
Yeah.
And the second one came about 3 days from there, but the one I really got the next day morning itself.
Yeah.
So
it is the reason we even break the order is because we need to ensure that, because every spectacles can have a different manufacturing cycle, because we are manufacturing after you have placed the order, right? So your 2 different spectacles can have different manufacturing timing, but we don't wait for clubbing it. We make sure that whatever is built first sent it to the consumer.
Which is
I think
good.
that has also come from the customer obsession. When we read the customer comments, we read the customer comments 2 years back, and it was one of the feedback that when you have made one, at least give me, because I'm not able to see without a spectacle. At least you'll give me something to see. That is how we realize that this is solving a big pain for the consumer. So at least ship out whatever you have ready.
Absolutely. It was a very good, surprise to me, because they were committing 1 week and then delivering next day morning. It was genuinely a real customer delight, and that's where the loyalty really stays in. And while people are very functionally loyal today, I mean they move very fast, but by the time you continue to give them and surprise them and keep them excited, they would stick around with you.
Yes, yes.
Over to you, Ashita, for a few of your
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah, so a couple of things, because we have a lot of community, from franchising side also. So a couple of quick questions for that. So are you looking for expansions now, since having said that you've got 600 stores? And
Absolutely.
in
We
case
want
yes,
to,
any peculiar areas?
no, everywhere in India, we want to reach 5,000 stores in 5 to 6 years. I keep on saying this wherever I go, but to achieve this, we have to go to every corner of the country. And 5,000 is just a number because we want to reach all those population I spoke about who don't have access, because access is a big piece. So whatever is a number, but we are expanding everywhere, and probably this is the right time because you will also get a lot of rental rebates and a little bit of
Yes.
easier agreements than generally in a scenario where you lose out on properties because of these factors.
Yeah, that's right. No, I think there's a lot of correction also will happen, and a lot of willingness of people to get into businesses will happen. So it would, kind of ease out the things
Yes.
better, and expansion can happen from both sides.
And it is
Willingness.
a win-win, right? At the end of the day, it's a win-win because a lot of people or franchisees or they also understand that there could be nobody can predict when this will all end, and is it followed by a recession, because overall there has been a slump, right? So we need to recover out of it.
Yeah.
We want to, of course, leverage the situation where we want to expand as much as possible, but that has to be a process. So over the next 5 years, we'll keep on doing this, and this is just one of the things which has taught us that we need to be secure at the back end to make sure that when the hard times hit you, you are surviving that.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah, we need to keep on expanding.
Sure.
Just
No,
answer your
that's
question. Yeah. And through both routes, whether if you find a good franchisee, we'll be more than happy to give it to him or her. If they understand our concept, because at the end of the day, you're getting an entrepreneur to run the business. He will of course do much better.
Okay. Great. That's interesting. So another thing, I understand that you keep a lot busy in your work, and you love talking to startups. Any interesting ideas that are coming up in past 3-4 months?
Oh, this is in hard times. You get ideas, right? And
yeah,
so many technological ideas which has popped up. We launched AR on iPhone, and we'll be launching AR on Android phones, which will bring access. If you have time, I'll show you. It is very interesting. I don't know if it is the model of how if you can show your own product, but this was the lockdown thing we did, where we made sure that people who are not able to step out of their house, can they really try the spectacles in 3D, but in the most real environment.
So who's cooking nowadays? I'll make it simple for you to keep answering. Who's cooking at home, you or Richa?
We both are just trying to survive, but of late our house maid has started coming, and that's that. Like when we saw her, it was almost like God coming to home, because for the first 2 months it was tough. You get into those phases where you are excited to do cooking, and then you don't want to cook, and then you have a lot of Maggies available. But yeah, I think it was a good time. The good time because both me and Richa probably got the most amount of time to stay together and without travel and all of that.
Yeah.
I think this was the very good.
Oh, it would have happened after like a decade now.
Yeah, after a decade, absolutely. We know each other for a decade, but this is the first time where we are able to spend so much time together.
Yeah.
It's a forced vacation at home.
Yeah.
For the good. I think that was the good part.
Yeah. I think that would have been interesting. And how are you coping up with your travel thing? I mean, if I may use a word, obsessed. I mean, you like traveling outside, and you were practically out the whole time. So how are you managing that? You're looking at Russia virtually now, or?
Yeah, looking at your old photographs for sure, but But Ashita, it is tough. For on that aspect, it was tough. I went through ups and downs during this thing, but now I think we get used to it. Every human get used to it. So we are pretty much used to it. I was not able to work from home, so I took a small office space nearby home so that I have a routine of doing exercise, getting ready, and going to the workplace. At least I'm managing that routine. I'm all alone in this small room, but at least I'm out of home.
Yeah.
So that is what I've been doing. But I won't advise this to everyone if they don't feel safe. I'm just trying to do it in a very safe manner, but not for everybody to practice. I'll quickly join the Zoom. Wait. If you see, I'm not wearing it, but this was the technology
Oh,
thing.
that's cool. That's cool.
So now you can actually try the spectacle on your face without visiting a store if you want to see the looks. That is what people wanted to see, right? कि मैं कैसा दिखता हूँ.
Right.
So
and an absolute real background that you are in.
Yes.
It's not, yeah.
This is a very new age augmented reality technology where we want to just make you feel like that you're wearing it.
True.
So Ashita, your new sets of glasses which you wanted to choose, you need to try on this.
It's much easier now. Oh yes, you've just owned a customer.
Yes.
So that's interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah.
Sorry
no,
for
I think that's a very interesting
sorry
thing.
for doing my plug in your webinar, but
no, it was really interesting. I mean, I think that's a good innovation which will help people. You know, people like me who've not been trying it, but now, of course, it's because it's easier. Then it's easier to done. Yeah, but I think it was lovely talking to you, Amit.
So you think about all this, but during COVID you get time to actually implement it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, true. So I think it was lovely, Amit. It was lovely catching up with you after so long, and I'm really happy to see you reduced, much fitter, healthier. So I think that's a very interesting thing, and I loved talking to you. I'm sure all our delegates and Facebook viewers will also love talking. And thank you so much for taking out time for us.
Thank you so much, Ashita. Gaurav, it was a pleasure meeting you back. Gaurav, I think last we met at Singapore, just before lockdown, right? Just before lockdown.
Just before lockdown.
And we were discussing कि Corona से India का क्या होगा, and 4 months hence, you see what is the situation. Thanks, Ashita. Lovely meeting you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Same here.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.
See you.